This is the third and final asset that I will be doing. This is just a demonstration of the third one. It will be under the name Arduino, which will be spelt like this. Sorry, Arduino. So if you want this package, go onto the Unity asset store and you can find it there. But anyway, pretty much what it does is it both writes to and reads from the Arduino. Now in the previous two that I've been working on, I've gotten an asset that writes to the Arduino. I've got an asset that reads from the Arduino, and this one does both. I only have one scene with this one. So, if we have a look, we've got the analog pins being read from the Arduino just like before, and this is pretty much the same as one of the earlier assets where it's reading from the Arduino. If I connect pin 2, you can see that it lights up, and if I connect pin 8 on the Arduino, you can see pin 8 and also the analog pins, because they're not connected to anything sort of mess out around. But these ones are completely new. What these do is when I hit a key on the keyboard, it will send the data to the Arduino, and the Arduino will turn on or turn off that particular pin depending on whether I'm pushing down the button, just like the other assets. As you can see, when I press it, there's a short delay, but when I press it down, it sends the data from Unity to the Arduino, and then the Arduino is reading its digital pin and saying, hey, right here on digital pin 2, the one you just told me to turn on, I'm reading something. And that's pretty much how it's working. Now, unfortunately, I don't think I will have any time to do analog pins, as in writing to the analog pins, as they are a tad tricky, but this is a completely free asset, and yeah, so that's pretty much the example there. And now I will show you this. Don't worry about these. Each one of these was just the red things. Pretty much the idea is it's red unless you press the button and then it turns green. Or in this case, it's red unless Arduino is reading it, then it's green. So that's pretty much how it works. And in here, pretty much this is the important bit, serial port, SP. I just like using SP. Yet again, that's your baud rate for Arduino, 9600. That just tends to be the norm for me. Mine's on COM3, as was with the others. These are just the analog pins, so pretty much what happens is it will read from the analog pins of the Arduino, and in these game objects it will position them depending on where it is. For example, here, this is 0. This is when you're reading a 0 from the analog pin, and this is when you're reading max voltage for a 3.3 volt line. This is the code. So serial begin, just change them all to outputs, and then here, just like before, it's just stringing all the digital pins, stringing all the analog pins, adding them together and sending them as a sentence. Here, yet again, it's just reading the serial line from Unity, because Unity sends over the serial port. This reads it from the serial port, and if it's capital A, set pin to high. If it's little a, set it to low. Capital B, set it to high, and so forth. I've already described all of these in my other demonstration videos. But pretty much here, yet again, sp.open. You write and read timeout. I've set both of them because it's using both. And just like before, you can see it's just setting all the boxes to red when you first started up. If I didn't include them, they would be colorless until you pressed a button. So that's just to make things look nice. In the update, you can see it's reading from the Arduino. That's what this is. It's reading when it prints the line, and then it splits it using these. That's why here I've separated them using that. From here, it's the same as my others. If the Arduino is reading something and it's given a 1, then set the color to green, else set it to red. So that's pretty much the entire logic behind these. Is it's green if the Arduino is reading something, or red if it's not. And this is just copied and pasted. This would be pin 2, pin 3, pin 4. Just copy and paste it all the way down till here. This is a little complicated, but long story short, this is just the calculations for this is what the Arduino sends across its port. This is what it picks up on its analog pin. It just does a few calculations, and then here it's moving the slider. So in this example, it's moving these left or right relative to whether the Arduino is reading anything. And as you can see, because they're not tied, they were jittering back and forth. And it's the same for all of them. And here, yet again, if I'm pressing Q, set that to the color green, or set the box, which would be this one here, or not box, cylinder, set it to green, and then right to the Arduino. And same thing all the way down. It's the exact same. And as you can see, what happens is, if I write to the Arduino to tell it to turn on that pin, it will pick up that value and set this to high, so it's turning on the pin, say pin 2 in this case. And then back up here, when it's mapping it out, it'll say that pin 2 is high because you've just set it to be. And then from there it'll send it just like normal. And that's why if I press the Q for pin 2, there's a small delay and then this pops up. One thing to note is if you rapidly spam the keys, there will be a bit of lag in this particular script. It's not an issue. It clears itself up almost immediately, but just don't spam them, otherwise it might act a tad weird. Not sure if I already mentioned it, but player settings, make sure that's the .NET. And yeah, that's more or less it. You can copy and paste these, and oh yeah, here, like it says here, if you're using the 3.3 volt source for reading the analog voltages, just keep this all as it is. If you're working with a 5 volt power source, then set this value to 1023, and this to 123, 123, etc. So you would continue that for all of these. But I'm using a 3.3, so it doesn't really matter. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And yeah. So as you can see, I press Q, short delay, whereas when I bridge pin, I'll use 7 to 3.3, it shows up pin 7, Y. So yeah, completely free asset for helping people communicate to their Arduino. The reason I built this is pretty much just because I've had the same issue as everyone else. The Arduino is not a very easy thing to write to or to read from, and I just thought I would help people out. So, that's pretty much all. Yeah. And once again, like the previous ones, it might not like me uploading a .ino file, so in the description there will be the link to getting the INO, and also the entire folder if you wanted to. So yes, good luck communicating to your Arduino, and thank you.